How to deal with disrespect. Have you ever felt your blood boil after someone disrespected you? Do you replay their words in your head, wondering how you should have responded? What if you could turn that sting of insult into a spark of inner strength? This isn't just about keeping your cool. It's about transforming how you view disrespect itself. What if ancient wisdom could show you how to respond with poise, clarity, and power, rather than anger or hurt? In this journey, we turn to Stoicism, a time-tested philosophy that equips us to meet life's challenges not with chaos, but calm. Today, I invite you to explore 10 powerful Stoic principles that can help you navigate disrespect with resilience and grace. Let's begin, not just to understand disrespect, but to transcend it. Keep your calm. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy is the idea that it's not events themselves that disturb us, but rather our interpretation of those events. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic thinkers, once said, "People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them." This insight can be incredibly empowering. When someone disrespects you, the natural impulse might be to feel insulted, angry, or wounded. But Stoicism invites us to step back. Instead of immediately reacting, we must understand that disrespect in itself holds no power over our inner peace. It's not a personal reflection of our worth, but often a projection of the other person's inner struggles, emotions, or misunderstandings. Imagine being able to stand firm, unshaken, as insults bounce off your mind like arrows against a shield. That's the calm the Stoics speak of. Not apathy, but clarity. You maintain emotional sovereignty, choosing how to think instead of letting someone else's words dictate your feelings. 2. Reflect on yourself. The Stoics emphasized self-examination as a vital daily practice. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, advised, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When confronted with disrespect, the first step is not to strike back, but to look inward. Ask yourself, is there any truth in their criticism? Did I knowingly or not contribute to this situation? What response would align best with my principles? By turning inward, you empower yourself to grow, rather than shrink in the face of offense. Self-reflection transforms conflict into a mirror. Through it, we see not only the other person's intentions, but our own patterns. We discover whether we're ruled by ego or guided by wisdom. And most importantly, we learn how to respond in a way that uplifts rather than degrades. Learn to pause. Seneca once remarked, "Whenever you are angry, be assured that it is not only a present evil, but that you have increased a habit." Anger, he reminds us, is not just a feeling, it's a training. The more we indulge it, the more it owns us. The Stoic approach emphasizes the power of pause. That brief moment between stimulus and response is where your freedom lives. It's where you stop the automatic chain of reaction and choose a different path. So when disrespect rears its head, pause, breathe, acknowledge the feeling without obeying it. This simple act gives your mind the space to assess, not react. You begin to master the moment rather than be mastered by it. And in mastering that pause, you begin mastering yourself, which to the Stoic is the only true power. The path of the Stoic doesn't end with calming yourself or reflecting inward. True resilience lies in what comes next, how you communicate, what boundaries you set, and how you rise above without losing your center. In the next part, we'll explore more Stoic principles that guide you through the deeper layers of responding to disrespect. Let's continue this journey together. In the previous section, we explored the power of pausing, how taking a moment to collect yourself before reacting can drastically change the way you handle disrespect. By mastering that pause, you don't Just control your emotions. You reclaim your peace. Now let's build on that foundation. The next Stoic lessons guide us deeper into understanding others, controlling ourselves, and staying anchored in our values. Have empathy. Epictetus once offered a powerful reminder: seek not the good in external things, seek it in yourselves. This simple truth captures a deeper Stoic belief that real strength and goodness come from within, not from how others treat us. So when you're confronted with disrespect, the Stoic path isn't to lash out or shut down, it's to pause and reach for empathy. Why might someone speak or act in such a way? Could their rudeness stem from fear, pain, or a personal battle? That's invisible to you. Imagine a stranger shouts at you in traffic. Your first instinct might be anger. But what if you knew that person just lost their job or received terrible news? Suddenly, their behavior feels less like an attack and more like a cry from a wounded soul. This doesn't excuse poor behavior, but it gives you power over your own. Empathy allows you to see beyond the surface, to separate the act from the individual. And in doing so, you strip disrespect of its sting. You become the one in control. Stoicism teaches that we are all interconnected, bound by shared humanity. When you respond with empathy, calmly, kindly, without malice, you break the cycle of conflict. You show strength without shouting, compassion without condoning, and clarity without cruelty. Instead of fueling fire with fire, you become a quiet, steady flame. That's real dignity. That's Stoic grace. 5. Concentrate on virtue. At the core of Stoic philosophy is a central, unwavering belief that virtue is the highest good. Wisdom, courage, justice, self-discipline. These aren't just ideals, they're the compass by which a Stoic navigates life. Seneca, one of the most revered Stoic thinkers, wrote, "Virtue is nothing else than right reason." In other words, to live virtuously is to live rationally, in harmony with the natural order and in alignment with our higher selves. So when you're disrespected, mocked, insulted, ignored, the Stoic doesn't ask, "How do I win this confrontation?" but rather, "How can I respond in a way that upholds my values?" Virtue does not mean passivity. It does not mean tolerating abuse or injustice. What it does mean is that your response should not be driven by wounded pride or the desire for revenge. Instead, it should reflect strength of character. Imagine someone mocks you in public. You feel the flush of anger rise, but instead of retorting with cruelty, you respond with composure. You state your truth firmly but respectfully. You do not lower yourself to their level. You lift the conversation even if they cannot meet you there. By concentrating on virtue, you do more than protect your dignity. You embody it. And in doing so, you not only diffuse the conflict, but you also grow. Each difficult moment becomes an opportunity to practice the art of becoming better, wiser, more centered, and that is the true victory. Not in overpowering others, but in mastering yourself. As we move forward, we'll uncover even more Stoic principles, tools that help you not only stand tall in the face of insult, but actually transform conflict into personal strength. In the next part, we'll look at how to shift your focus, manage your expectations, and navigate life's slights with enduring calm. Let's continue. So far, we've explored how to stay composed, show empathy, and hold fast to virtue in the face of disrespect. Now, let's move into the final set of Stoic teachings, lessons that help us accept what we cannot control, shift our mindset, and walk away stronger than before. These next principles will give you practical ways to transform disrespect, not only into personal power, but lasting peace. Embrace acceptance. One of the cornerstones of Stoic wisdom is knowing the difference between what we can control and what we cannot. This is known as the Stoic dichotomy of control, and it's essential when dealing with disrespect. Epictetus reminded us, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. It's a reminder that our peace doesn't come from the world outside. It comes from how we choose to respond to it. You can't control how someone treats you. Their words, their behavior, that's on them. But your thoughts, your emotions, those are yours to command. So when you're faced with someone's disdain, remember, you can accept the situation without surrendering your self-worth. Acceptance isn't weakness. It's strength in choosing not to let external chaos disturb your inner calm. It's acknowledging that while you can't change them, you can always improve yourself. Through this shift, you free yourself from anger, resentment, and frustration, and that's a true Stoic triumph. 7. Use humor. Sometimes, the best way to rise above a rude remark is with a well-placed laugh. Seneca, with characteristic insight, said, "You have mastered yourself when you know how to deal with what you should not take seriously." Humor, when used wisely, is a powerful Stoic tool. It helps you keep your emotional balance. When someone tries to offend you, a light-hearted quip or gentle joke can disarm tension and remind you not to take things too seriously. Imagine someone throws an insult your way expecting a heated reply, only to be met with a smile and a witty response. In that moment, you've not only protected your peace, but subtly shifted the energy of the encounter. Of course, Stoicism doesn't promote sarcasm or cruelty, but a sense of humor can be your emotional armor, a way to deflect hostility with grace and transform conflict into connection. 8. Set clear boundaries. Being Stoic doesn't mean being passive. In fact, it means being rooted like a rock, firm, unmoved, but not aggressive. When someone crosses a line, the Stoic does not retaliate. They clarify. You don't have to scream. You don't have to shut down. But you do have the right and the responsibility to calmly assert your boundaries. Say, "That's not acceptable," or "I don't tolerate being spoken to that way." Speak with strength, not spite. Boundaries don't just protect your dignity, they teach others how to treat you. Stoicism encourages self-respect. When you set healthy boundaries, you're not pushing people away, you're inviting respect. You're showing that while you won't control others, you absolutely will protect your peace. 9. Choose forgiveness. Forgiveness is one of the hardest yet most freeing things we can offer, not for others but for ourselves. When someone disrespects you, it's easy to carry the weight of their offense. But Stoicism asks, what good does that do? Marcus Aurelius might remind us that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean approving. It means releasing yourself from the toxic grip of resentment. Epictetus said that we should forgive all, but not blindly. Forgiveness must come with wisdom, with the understanding that letting go of anger doesn't let them win. It sets you free. When you forgive wisely, you reclaim your emotional energy, you return to peace, and in that space you rise, not as a victim, but as someone victorious over pain. 10. Change your perspective. Perspective is the ultimate Stoic lens. It gives clarity where emotion brings distortion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Our life is what our thoughts make it." When you shift your mindset, you shift your world. Disrespect often feels massive in the moment, but with perspective, you begin to see how small it really is. An unkind word, a cold look. These are blips, not earthquakes. Perspective also helps you see that disrespect is rarely about you. It's often about the other person, their fears, their ego, their struggles. Why let their noise shake your core? With the right mindset, you can respond not with overreaction, but with understanding. You can stay focused on your goals, your values, your growth, not their judgment. So next time disrespect knocks, take a breath. Zoom out. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow, next year, in the grand scheme of my life? Perspective reminds us of what truly matters and helps us let go of what doesn't. By mastering these 10 Stoic principles, you don't just survive disrespect, you transform it. You walk away not with scars but strength. You preserve your peace, protect your dignity, and grow into the calm, courageous version of yourself that Stoicism calls you to be. So if this message resonated with you, leave a thumbs up and help others discover this timeless wisdom. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more lessons from the ancient minds who still guide us today. Thank you for being part of this journey.